this is Greg the Rural Economist. Today I'm going to talk about foraging, but at this moment I'm not going to cover a specific plant. When I started the Wild Edibles video series, I was super excited and I just jumped right straight into it because I realized that people were interested, folks around here were interested, and I didn't cover some of the basics. So I'm going to back up and fix that. There are very few places in the world where you can't find something to sustain you. There are very few environments where there's not something that's growing out in the wild that you can eat. The deserts would be really, really tough. I don't have any experience really with deserts. The Arctic climates, Antarctica and the Arctic, would be basically impossible. But pretty much everywhere else, you're going to be able to find something at least certain times of the year. Now, but I didn't go over the rules. I didn't go over the guidelines. So I'm going to back up and we're going to cover those, and then we're going to jump into some wild edibles. I'm going to try to record quite a few this weekend, and then I'll release them as time goes on. That way I don't throw them all out there all at once. The deeper in the woods you go, the fewer things there are to eat. The farther out in a grassland you go, the fewer things there are for you to eat. Abundance happens on the edges. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't things, if we were to go off down in the woods back here behind me, I'm not saying that there's not stuff back there that we could eat, because I know for a fact there are, because I've already walked back there to see what I could do. But I mean, there wouldn't be as many as on the edge. I mean, if you think about it, blackberries, sumac, some of the stuff that I've already covered, they're edge plants. A lot of the stuff that I've already covered is edge plants. Now, I have covered some grassland plants, and I will continue to do so, and I'm going to start adding some forest plants. But I want you to realize that you're going to have the greatest variety and the greatest chance of getting enough calories to sustain you, if that is your goal, being able to work the edges. Think about it. When you're deer hunting or whatever, you want to be along the edge line of the woods, because they're going to come out of the woods to eat typically. Okay? Another thing, when you find a stand of a plant that you wish to harvest, unless you're just harvesting the seeds, and we'll talk about some of those in the upcoming weeks, you should never harvest more than 1/3 of a resource each year. Now, that gives that plant enough time to rebuild, and it allows it to become a perpetual source of calories for you in the future. Okay? We've covered cattails. If you were to go through and harvest all of the cattails, yes, there'll be some come back, but there won't be as many if you harvest them all. Whereas if you harvest only a portion of them, then they're going to keep coming back year and year and year and year. Okay? Number three, I hadn't been numbering them, but number 3, when dealing with aquatic plants, please realize that they are the most susceptible to pollution. If you're harvesting an aquatic plant like the cattail that's in a polluted water source, they're going to be leaching out some of that pollution, and you're in turn going to be putting it in your body. So there's a lot of things to consider. Know your plants. We've talked about that every single time. But at the same time, don't be afraid to experiment, especially with known plants. Now, there's a lot of plants out there that if you eat, they'll kill you dead. And unless you know your plant, don't do it. But I'm talking about mixing broadleaf plantain and lamb's quarter together, or whatever. Anytime you know the plants, don't be afraid to mix flavors. Because up until now, with very few exceptions, all the plants we covered have been very low caloric value. Now, they've been high nutritional value, but very low calorie value. But we're going to change that, okay? All right. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you stick around. I hope you learn a ton. I would love to hear your questions. I would love for you to send me pictures. Go, what is this? I'm honest enough that if I don't know, I'll go, I don't know, but we'll try to find out. This is Greg the Rural Economist, and step by step, we're bringing rural back. Have a good day.